Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built, and today we are going to continue the epoxy priming of the Alfarrari. Alright guys, welcome back, and those of you watching last week will see I finally got paint on the Alfarrari. I was so excited to finally get the underside at least all in one colour. It was a very time consuming episode, lots of talking and not a lot of action because it's quite boring. I mean, it was 2 full days of work to get there, but it's done and the whole underside is epoxy prime. So that is not the end of what's going to be done on the underside, but it is for now. So today we're continuing on, and I've got to turn the car around now and start doing inside the boot, inside the engine bay, inside the cabin. That's where I'm going to start. It's going to take a lot of cleaning, a lot of just getting the bare metal prepared nicely so that I can then rust treat it, same as what I did last week, going through getting it so that hopefully there won't be any rust coming back. That's the whole goal of this exercise. So if you missed last week, I'll put a link up above so you can catch up, and think about subscribing. It does help us out. So that's enough yabbering. Let's flip the car up the other way and start getting in there with wire wheels and sanders and stuff, and just getting everything back to bare metal. At least the internal parts at the moment is what I'm going to concentrate on. So engine bay, boot, interior. Let's do it. So that was a lot of time, but I've gone through the engine bay and got it all back to nice, shiny, clean metal. That's a whole lot of work on that part, but we still have all of the inside and all of the boot. So of course I'm going through and cleaning things up, and I found a huge rust spot that I completely forgot about. So I'm going to have to cut that out and do a repair. And there's actually a couple of pinholes back here as well. Yeah, that's a pain. All right, and that is all repaired. It's looking like a bit of a dog's breakfast down here with all the welds, but that will all be seam sealed and tidied up and should be fine once it's all finished. Okay, so time to get back on the wire wheel and keep going. All right, it probably doesn't look like it, but I am happy enough with the interior of the car being bare metal. So now it's time to move around and tackle the boot. Okay, so that is the engine bay, boot and interior all ready to go, or at least send back to the bare metal stage as far as I need to go to start with. I'm going to do the exterior of the car as well. At first I thought I was just going to do those bits, but I think it's going to be easier to go through and do the exterior and the interior at the same time. The underside was just really a lot more fiddly. So I think now it's time to start going over the exterior of the car, and same again. It's been just hours and hours and hours of sanding that for you guys just going by like that. What I will show you though is my charging station I just made up in the morning. I'm very happy with this. It makes my life so much easier having all the batteries here. I put a shelf on it so I can sort of sit the charged batteries on the shelf and I can see what's going on. Camera batteries down here, that's always been there. But yeah, just nice shed mods to keep me going. Whew, that was a long day going over the entire car, just preparing the entire metal body for the next step, which is going to be getting in and doing all the rust conversion on the whole thing. So I've sanded everything, I've got everything back to bare metal. So wow, it is really, really, really time consuming and really grubby, but I'm quite happy with the result. So tomorrow morning, as soon as I get back in, it's rust treatment. Yeah. All right, well, it is the following morning. I am refreshed and ready to get stuck into this. The first thing I'm going to go through is I'm going to go through with the air blower and just blow out the entire car and make sure I've got everything, all the dust and grinding stuff out of the car, and then go over it with wax and grease remover to try and get it all clean before I start doing the rust prevention stuff, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, something I haven't really looked at while I've been working on the car is the roof, and most of the roof is pretty good, except for right here. You probably can't see it in camera because I can't really even see it here, but I can feel that there's quite a low spot here in the roof that needs to be addressed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the car over probably the other way so I can get to it a bit easier, and see if we can sort of knock this low up a little bit. It needs to be raised out just a bit, and yeah, I don't want to ripple the entire roof. I just want to give it a little bit more of a crown, and yeah, hopefully not make a ripply mess. I am quite happy with that. That actually worked really well. So I just used a lightly crowned dolly and just with the file, just sort of massaged the metal around and just brought it up just nicely. And now it's nice. There is a very, very fine ripple. I think there's a line basically underneath the brace that's underneath the roof, but it is. Oh, that's pretty good. I ran the straight edge over it, and there's, oh, it's almost imperceptible. There might be 0.5 millimeter there somewhere. Maybe it's not enough to chase. That is definitely very, very good. I'm quite happy with that. So, phew, I was worried about that. I thought it was going to be a lot harder. Let's keep cleaning. All right. I have gone over and with the prep sole over the entire body, got everything ready for that. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back with the rust converter again and the Scotch-Brite over the whole thing and leave it for about 10 or 15 minutes and then wipe it off with some water with some bicarb in it just to neutralize the acid a little bit. Yeah, it's just going over the whole thing, same process each time, just making sure I get it as good as I can get it. That has been pretty much 2 full days to get it to this point, and now it's time to get in with the wax and grease remover, go over the whole car, clean it all up, get it ready, same as last week, and then hopefully we can get some epoxy primer on it. All right, so I went over the entire body with wax and grease remover again. I used one of these spray bottles. I find this is a really good way of putting wax and grease remover on. I have used a couple of the sort of cheap and nasty ones, and the seals die in them very quickly and they don't work. So you've got to make sure you get one that's okay for solvent, and it makes it much easier to put the wax and grease remover on. Then you just sort of spray it on and wipe it off. That is all looking good. Everything's prepared, so let's go and mix up some paint. All right, so it's time to mix up some primer. I'm using it's an EP41 epoxy primer. It's a 4-to-1 system, so I'm using my measuring cup. They're all slightly different. This one, particular one, gives you sort of, if you can read it in reverse, you fill up, you pick roughly the height, the amount of you want. I want quite a lot in this one, so I'll use the bigger measurement, fill the first part up to A, second part up to B, and then maybe about 10% thinners. Just weigh that up, just to try and get the right consistency. Yeah, so I'm going to mix that up now, and then use a filter to filter it straight into the gun. There's no internal filter in the gun. I know Mike at Wrench was having problems when he was first trying to do, particularly primer filler is very thick, and there's a little tiny plastic filler filter that sits in the middle of the cup in the gun, and that will just clog up very quickly and you won't get a very good spray. So that's not in there. It's filtered already when it goes through, so it should be good. So let's start mixing and start spraying. I am so happy with how this turned out. It's so good to see it all in one colour. The whole interior is all nice and bright and grey, and it just looks so good. Oh, it's been a long time coming. All the boot is done. Everything is all painted, and the entire outside all being one colour. I am so happy. I am so happy with how this turned out. It's all one colour, finally. Oh, it's been such a long time coming, but it is, it's good. And it's good to be able to see some of the sort of the defects and stuff. And actually, it looks pretty good. Like, I'm very happy with the result. So, yes, I think that is definitely an episode. So I think that means it's time for Fun Facts with Mrs. Jeff.
Hey guys, in 1971 Ferrari released the 2+2 Grand Tourer with the 365 GTC4. The GTC4 was based on the Daytona with bodywork by Pininfarina, but the short wheelbase and slanting rear windows, although beautiful, left very little room for the rear seats and headspace. Power steering, electric windows and air conditioning were all standard. Unique to this model was the cabin upholstery, which was a mix of leather and tartan, and you know how much we love tartan here. The car was also available in 48 colours. The car was powered by a 4.4 litre Colombo V12, but it was detuned from the Daytona version to 340 horsepower to make it smoother for the GT-oriented car. This also had a 5-speed manual bolted to the engine as opposed to the Daytona's transaxle version. And due to the engine and gearbox's rear placement, it had a near perfect weight distribution of 51:49. Only 505 examples were built in its 2-year run.
Oh, it's such a good occasion to see this car all in one colour. I am very happy. Yes. It's been a long time waiting, but it's here, and yeah, I think it looks really good. I am, yes, over the moon. So next week, there's still more to go because obviously we've still got bonnet and doors and boot to finish up, plus a couple of little extra panels. So that still needs to be done, but then hopefully we can start getting on a seam sealing and things like that. So
I think you were going to say colouring.
Colour is still a little way off yet. There's still other bits to come.
Yes, good things. It's the anticipation, isn't it? It's
Yes. Good things come to those who wait. Yes. I know lots of you are waiting to hear the colour that I've chosen, and it all will be revealed in good time.
Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and if you want to follow Jeff a day early and listen to him, his antics with the car, etc. Follow him on Patreon, and you'll get to see their videos without any ads. I'm saying videos. Is that what we still say? I mean, that is really showing our generation.
Yeah, it's not tape, is it? I don't know.
Anyway.
Either way, thanks guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye guys. The GTC4 was based on the Daytona by... The GTC4 was based on the Daytona. I'm so tired. The car was powered by the 4.4 litre Colombo V12, but it was detuned from the... How can I forget that so quickly? The car was powered by the engine as opposed to the Daytona's transaxle version. This also had a 5-speed engine. This also had a 5-speed manual.